Having a university degree has allowed me to become an agent of change in my home as well as in my community. It's allowed me to open up a world of opportunities, not just for myself, but for the girl that lives next door to my home, that their dreams are valid. It is okay to want something outside of the norm and still go out and achieve it.
Hello, and welcome to the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation's podcast. I'm Susan Dell. I'm here to share a few amazing stories from our Dell Young Leaders program in South Africa. This program focuses on helping traditionally underserved students graduate from university and launch successful careers. Today we'll hear from the Foundation's Tashlin Govender. Tashlin has been with the program since its start in 2010, and he recently had a chance to speak with 3 inspiring alumni of the program. I hope you enjoy these remarkable alumni and their stories. Thanks for listening.
My name is Tashlin Govender, and I'm a program director at the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation. Today I'm joined by 3 phenomenal alumni from our Dell Young Leaders program. Hi there.
Hi, Tashlin.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's so wonderful to connect with each of you. Would you like to maybe introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hello, my name is Cohen Grootboom. I studied at the University of Pretoria and am an attorney at one of the leading intellectual property law firms in Africa. I'm based in Johannesburg, and I currently work in the commercial litigation department.
My name is Bongiwe Gwemede. I'm a graduate of the University of Cape Town. I'm an occupational therapist currently practicing in a public healthcare facility in the eastern part of KwaZulu-Natal.
And my name is Vincent Makakula. I studied investment and finance at the University of Pretoria. Currently, I'm a management consultant for a global strategy company based out of Johannesburg.
Fantastic. Well, good to see you guys again. So could each of you tell us a little bit more about where you grew up and when you first thought about going to university?
I grew up in a small town called Danhauser. I used to walk long distances to school and back from and to access other facilities such as healthcare facilities. That was a good time for me to reflect and to think about my future. So going to the facility, I used to access it for my grandmother's medication. It was then that I first saw a man in a white coat. And for me, people walked into healthcare facilities with different kinds of ailments, but they walked out feeling better. So that sparked then an idea for me to want to help people. And it was from then that I decided that I needed to do something different in my community, to be someone different. And in saying that, getting a higher education was a way to go.
So I grew up also, like Bongi, in a very small township, but mine was on the western outskirts of Johannesburg, called Toekomsrus. The community has very little recreational infrastructure and is plagued by drug abuse, poverty, and crime. There was never really, I suppose, a moment where I decided that I had to go to university. But as I grew older, you start growing conscious of the situation in your community, and it just reaffirms that education was my only way out. And when I evaluated my skill set and the different talents that I believed I had, I knew I could make a contribution to South Africa, to the lives of South Africans, and to the betterment of our economy through being in the law.
For me, I grew up in a village called New Easterus, just 50 kilometers north of the capital city of Pretoria. So my community is very tight-knit. Everybody loves each other. But like any other communities, we're riddled with teenage pregnancy, drugs, crime, and it becomes the norm that youth finish school and just that. So the spark for me was when I went to high school in my grade 11 year. I decided that I needed to make a better life for myself, for my family, and some way, somehow contribute to the betterment of people like me in my community. When I made the leap into applying for university was when I decided I'm going to take charge of my life and move ahead with that newfound determination to make my life better.
So you were all the first in your families to attend university. What was that like, and what were the challenges that you faced?
For me, now there's 4 brothers and a sister. There's 47 cousins, and most of my family have dropped out of high school. So going forth for education or for university was something of a big leap. People thought you would not make it. It's going to be hard on you, and rather take the safe route out. But The challenges came when I was in university, and there isn't that support that you'd get from family. There isn't that support that you long for in your studies in order for you to succeed. So those are the challenges I faced when I decided to embark on my university career.
I would say overwhelming, to say the very least. It came with a lot of pressure because coming from a family where there's such a great sense of companionship and ubuntu amongst its members, you're not just your mother's and your father's child, but you're the child of the gogo that lives down the street. So going to university, it wasn't just for my family, it became a thing for my community. Before I left in January, everyone in my community knew that there was a child that was going to university. And it wasn't just any university, it was the University of Cape Town.
Yeah, for me, quite similar. University in and of itself is tough and uncertain. But one thing I didn't know was where the money would come from. And this puts a lot of pressure on any young person and a teenager at that stage that I was.
So can you give us an example of how the Dell Young Leaders program supported you through those challenges that you each mentioned right now?
So around April 2013, when I was welcomed into the Dell Young Leaders family, I didn't know that it came with that much wraparound support. It was the first time that I'd heard the concept mentor and the role of a mentor. I didn't know initially how to deal with everything else that every other student was dealing with and who to approach with my problems. So having a mentor for me enabled me to transition smoothly from high school life into university life. She assisted me with past papers. She introduced me into Cape Town living. And that for me, it was something that I needed because living in a residence, you meet each other amongst the corridors, you meet each other in dining halls, but no one really shares real problems. Having a mentor meant that I could be real with someone. I could tell someone exactly how it is that I felt and exactly what I needed. I received individual support and support that was meaningful.
Yes, so for me, the Dell Young Leaders Scholarship is quite an interesting scholarship in that the way that it's structured. Beyond the financial assistance that it gives, it has an overall support system. It's not only financial well-being, but it also focuses a lot on academic, emotional, and other psychological types of assistance where we are all truly a family and there's lots of camaraderie amongst all the scholars. So I try to be a support system to others like the Dell Young Leaders has been to me, because I know how much support is valued and what benefit support can be.
When you come from a village, right, you live in a different world altogether from a city. And when you get to the city, it's 10 times faster. You can't reconcile your life at home to the life now you live or you lead in the institution. So that transition was the biggest hurdle that one had to get over. So in my final year, I was very anxious about getting a job, securing employment for the next year. Because when you apply to university, you are sure. But after university, you are not really sure what's going to happen after that. So I sat down with the Dell Young Leader staff. We worked on my CV. We worked on my EQ through workshops. We did a whole lot of stuff around preparing me for the world of work. And that made a difference, as when I got final employment, those things came back to me as enablers that make me effective at what I do today.
Could you each talk about what it felt like graduating? How did your family, friends, and community react to when you actually made it to that special day?
Funny enough, during my studies, every year, I used to attend graduation ceremonies of other students, whether I knew whether someone who was graduating or not. But I think sitting there would really, truly inspire me and give me a sort of push that one day I'll get there. And then when my moment finally came, it was surreal. And I think the surreality of it was amplified by the fact that I'd actually had employment by the time I stood on that stage. That was a really great feeling, that I knew that I've achieved something great. And as far as what it meant for my family, I think words cannot explain. And that we have a lawyer in the family now, and at least once a week I get a call from someone with some type of problem that they would like me to solve or deal with, and I do it gladly, and I do it with the utmost zest that I can, because I know these were the people that were there for me. These are the people who believed in me.
My residence actually is about 20 to 30 meters from the graduation hall, and you can overlook during graduation season people tossing their caps up, people taking pictures with their families in that moment. And what it meant for me when I eventually got on that stage is that it felt as though that I had climbed Mount Everest. I'm right at the top. I'm just touching space, so to say, because what it means for my family is that for the first time ever, there's somebody who's going to take this family to the next level, who's going to break so many generational issues that we might have had, and we're going to make a new leap. We're turning a new page, and we are reaching for our goals. And through perhaps me, this will be possible.
Well, congratulations to each of you, because you've all done phenomenally well in making it to the world of work. But beyond just your own life, what has the impact of having a university degree been on your family and on your community?
The impact on my family is that of an enabling effect. Materially, I've been able to sort of build a house from scratch, buy things that ordinarily we wouldn't have as a family. But beyond that has been assisting my family members and my community in accessing opportunities through education. So going to speak in high schools about university education, going to help other people to access knowledge like I've had the opportunity to do so.
Having a university degree has allowed me to become an agent of change in my home as well as in my community. It's allowed me to open up a world of opportunities, not just for myself, but for the girl that lives next door to my home, that their dreams are valid. It is okay to want something outside of the norm and still go out and achieve it.
It's one thing to know a lawyer on TV or to know of someone who is a lawyer, but to personally have interacted with someone who has now went on to become an attorney, I think that is very much inspirational. And not that I wouldn't want to take any credit for it, but I believe just seeing someone making it, someone that you know, it inspires you to want to do better, want to do more. And that's what I think it means to my community.
All right, so as each of you look back, what does it mean to you to be a Dell Young Leader?
It's made me a better person compared to the person I entered university as. I was shy, I was withdrawn, I was an introvert. Being a Dell Young Leader really allowed me to step outside of my comfort zone and to experience different things. And right now, I'm a more confident public speaker. I am confident in my abilities as a person to also advise other people as to what you can and cannot do. I would say it allowed me to grow.
In a family, you help each other. And the Dell Young Leaders Scholarship has really showed me how to be helpful to other people and how to assist them. And I'm also a mentor within the program, and that has also provided me with an opportunity to guide incoming students who was like I was only a few years ago, and that is an immeasurable asset to me, and I would like to be a similar asset to those coming, and I hope that they do the same, and it just creates a chain reaction, and we change South Africa and we change the world.
All right, so what advice do you have for other young people like you?
For me, I have this quote, right? And the quote is from a poem that we did in high school and from my English teacher. It's by Tom Gunn. At worst, one is emotion, and at best, reaching no absolute in which to rest. One is always nearer by not keeping still. For me, this has meant that your dreams are valid and go forth and take them. Make a change in your life, but more importantly, make the change in somebody else's life. My message to young people is to basically live by that code, that you will be a change agent wherever you go.
Fantastic. Well, thank you to each and every one of you for joining us today. I mean, you all embody the qualities of a Dell Young Leader. And as you know, there's almost over just 600 students that have been awarded the scholarships. And they are all probably listening today, really celebrating in your achievements.
Your dreams are valid. Go forth and take them. Always incredibly inspiring. Thank you all for sharing your stories and insights. And thank you, listeners, for joining us today. If you'd like to learn more about the Dell Young Leaders Program, please go to impact.msdf.org/completion. Until next time.